Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Switch of Play with myself, Mark Simpson, and with Micky Barron. Good evening, Micky. How are you?
Good evening, Mark. I'm all right. I've been at work this week as well, earlier in the week, so it's been a bit of a change. I've done some lessons from home, which is incredibly difficult. But it's nice to be able to get outside. I've just finished a game of head tennis with the boys outside, so quick change and everybody.
Is that going to be a difficult transition back into work life again now that's starting to pick up?
Do you know what? I think it's going to be hard for the teachers and the students. I think it's going to take a long time to get back to how it was, and I don't even think in September that it'll be back to normal as people remember it. So, yeah, it will be a hard transition for everyone, I think.
So, yeah, and looking back at the podcast, I mean, last week's edition with Chris Turner went on really well. People loved hearing those stories and reminiscing about, the good times.
Yeah, definitely. I think Chris's enthusiasm shone through. I think he's desperate to be involved in football and pass on his knowledge to the young coaches or players or even old coaches. He's got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience, and it was just nice to see him again. It's a long time since I've actually spoke to him. So, and I think hearing his voice for me as a player takes me back to sort of the days when we were playing and the sort of good times that we had as a group.
And certainly one fellow who had great enthusiasm for the game is Kevin Henderson, tonight's guest. What are your memories about Hendo being around the dressing room?
Yeah, Hendo. What you get with Hendo is what you see. Do you know what I mean? He's straight up and down. I remember sometimes if he didn't think matches were good enough, he'd tell you. If he didn't think training was good enough. But the one thing Hendo always did, he always trained and played really, really hard. He'd give his all for the team whenever he played. And as a defender, when you see that from some of your forwards, it's such a big help. And he's just a good guy. He's just a nice guy, nice to be around, and he's always positive and always smiling.
Yeah, so without further ado, welcome to today's guest, Kevin Henderson. Good afternoon, and welcome along, Hendo.
Cheers, Mark. A pleasure, mate. Nice to see you both, you and Micky.
Hi, Hendo. I hope you're keeping well, mate.
Aye, top man. I'm all right, son. I'm all right.
We've got to ask, because we ask all of our guests at this particular point in the world, it's just gone mad at the minute. How has it affected you? I know you've been back at work, you've been enjoying some time on the golf course, but in terms of the pandemic, how much of an impact has it had?
I'll be honest with you, when Boris made the announcement on the Monday night and we stopped, the first 2 weeks were like a holiday. I was ready for a rest, and it was nice. We spent a lot of time with the family. I got to spend time with my daughter, which I don't really get to do.
Yeah.
So, but after 2 or 3 weeks, I started to, we're going back to work, I'll do this. The phone was going. So I just started to build up and up. So it was a nice time to get some time with the family. So it was a good break.
Because you do the kitchen and bedroom fitting. Is that what your role?
Yeah. When I packed in playing, my father-in-law was ready to retire and my wife wanted to take over the family business, which was bedrooms at the time. So I thought, well, I've had enough of football. The legs are enough. Let's give it a go. So I did. And here we are, 10, 12 years later. And we now do kitchens, home offices. So we've just extended what Billy set up in 1972. And it's a lot of stress, like.
Yeah.
Aye. But I get a holiday, pays the bills, and I get a game of golf.
So, Hendo, how did you find out, when you left football and you started working properly, as everyone tells me I do now? How did you find that? Was it difficult or?
I came into football late, Micky. I was 23 when I turned pro. So I'd had a working life. I served my time as electrician. I'd worked in an office. I'd worked in a pipe manufacturer. So I knew what working life was all about.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to go back to a working life. So I was prepared for it. I'd done it. And I knew what it was. The thing I missed was the banter and the constant taking the mick out of each other and setting each other up. So I got massively into my golf, and I took Jamie's coaching on. I coached my son's football team. So I just kept really busy, Mick.
Yeah. I think you've got to try and replace it with something, and you've got to find a situation. I mean, I went into a school, and I was lucky to the school I went into that I had one lad who was an ex-analyst for Cardiff, so he knew a lot about football, and the two of the teachers wanted to talk about football all the time. And I was lucky, I fell straight into that, but I think coaching the kids team or even going to watch the kids on a weekend, it just gives you that little bit of football that sometimes you need.
Oh, you need something, Mick, absolutely. And when I stopped playing, I went to watch my son, and they were getting battered every week. And I was never going to be a coach, Mickey. I wasn't the most patient of blokes. And I thought, I don't know if I can do this with kids. So I got talked into it, and me and my mate took them over at 6 or under 6s. And I took Jamie all the way to under 18. Yeah, and whatever, we stayed with the local side for 8 years. Then he went to Newcastle City, and I thought, right, I'll just be a father. Now I'll just watch it. The coaching's gone. But a lad called Jeff Hearn asked us to go with him. So I ended up coaching again. But as that tailed off and he went to uni, I then got into me golf big style. Every Saturday religion now is golf. And as it happens, every Sunday's golf.
But you can see what happens when it's filling those. I remember when I retired and I was coaching when I left Hartlepool. The Saturday afternoon was an absolute killer for me because I was ending up going to the Metro Centre or retail or wherever, and I was just wanting to check the scores. I was wanting, and the thing I really missed was the hour and a half before kickoff. So that like time going to a game or just sitting with the players and talking to them before you went out and did the warm-up. And I really struggled for probably a year. Even now, if I don't play me over 40s on a Saturday morning, I'm twitchy on a Saturday afternoon. At 3 o'clock, it's built into you. So replacing it with golf or trying to do something at that time is perfect.
I had to have something, and you do need something, Mickey, absolutely. And luckily, I didn't have a lot of time between packing in and taking Jamie's football over, which gave us a focus of training on a Saturday. I even started, mate, a 10-year-old, I was making them train on a Wednesday or training on a Saturday. If the pitches were frozen, we're going down to the beach. I mean, we went old school.
Yeah.
Now if you said, right, it's snowing, lads, we're going down to the beach, I don't know if health and safety would let you.
Yeah, I know. But it's that routine, isn't it? It's that we always train on a Wednesday, so it doesn't matter what's happening, we'll train on a Wednesday, and that's how we were brought up when we were playing. That these are the days you train, and we're going to train no matter what.
That's what, exactly. It's raining, and it's starting doing, and so I used to have 8-year-olds out in the chucking down rain or snow or ice, but I tell you what, they didn't half improve as a team, and they learned from that. And now my son, his teammates are now mates for life. They still knock around and they still talk about those days. So something good come out of it.
Is it difficult, just building on Micky's point, it must be difficult, I suppose, as a footballer, living that life and having that, that buzz and that adoration, even at the level you two both played at, to then go into the normal life, so to speak. Must be quite a strange, thing to do.
Like I say, Mark, I'd done that before, and I always knew that I was going back to a working life, 9 to 5, 8 to 6, whatever. I knew, so I was mentally prepared for it. And I also had spent a season under Stan Tennant at Burnley, and that was a wake-up call. That you were either a man, you sank or you swim. Yeah. And I got through it, and at the time I hated it, I'll be honest with you, I hated it. Stan was a really, really hard man. Great gaffer, very successful. But it was a culture shock for me. I had Chris Waddle beforehand, who was great with us, and then Stan was a man. And that toughened me up mentally. And that has given me a mental toughness that coming out of football, I'm quite positive. It doesn't take much. If I get knocked back, I'm back then. It doesn't take much to knock us down, but I soon bounce back. Yeah. And that mental toughness came from football. You learn it in football.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, Hendo and Mark, that was the one thing I really struggled with was in my career, even though I'd left Middlesbrough, but at the time when I left Middlesbrough, it wasn't like I was ever going to play. So I wanted to leave Middlesbrough. And then when I left Hartlepool, that was my first real kick in the teeth. Aye. It was a kick in the balls for us, you know what I mean? And it really affected us. And to be honest, I'd had loads of people saying, look, Mickey, you're a good coach. You've done this, you've done that. So for a month, I wasn't worried. Not at all. I was in the garden. I was chilling out with the kids, loving it. But the phone wasn't ringing. And after 6 weeks, I'm thinking, look, I've got another six weeks' money here, and I'm going to have to find something to do.
Aye.
Because you haven't been in that situation before. And it was such a huge sort of wake-up call to me. And then you're making the phone calls. You're then ringing people, asking if can I come and help coach? Can I do this? Can I do that? Because you're starting to get a little bit desperate to get work. And
no security.
Yeah.
You've got no security behind you.
And
that, you know, when your contract's coming to an end, Mickey, and you're looking over your shoulder thinking, what's happening next? Where am I going? What am I going to do? And I remember it was Carlisle I was at, and my contract was up. And before the club had decided, I'd decided I had enough. I wanted some security back in my life, because they're not knowing at the end of your contract. I hated that. I like to feel secure. So the likes of yourself, Mick, you've been in football since a YT, and even before that, Paul Stevenson, Paul Smith, Tony Loma, all players we played with, came out the game, woke up one day and said, I've got nothing to do.
Yeah.
You can understand the mental health issues in football, because it's a huge shock for you if you're not prepared for it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. I think the thing is, it's almost like you say, it's such a big kick in the teeth. It's such a wake-up call that you've got to now. You're just floating. You don't know what you're going to do. You know what I mean? You're just waking up every day. You haven't got that routine that I've had since I'm 16, where I'm a trainer at a certain time. I'm leaving. I'm doing this. Your sort of whole life has been turned upside down. But then you've got that financial pressure as well of like, well, I need to pay the bills. So I was even thinking, look, I'm going to have to go to Tesco. I'm going to have to start looking around in different places. And I was fortunate that I was doing a bit of coaching with Collie, and then the school came. But even then, I was out 3 or 4 nights a week on top of working. And you think, you realise how lucky you have it when you play football, really. You really do.
Oh, you do. And going from a working background into football, I knew how lucky I was to play football. Yeah. And so I was so fortunate, Mickey. I was late into the game, but so fortunate that I had that background. And you'd said before, how many times have we said the word fortunate? You know, there's lads out there not fortunate, Mickey, haven't had that luck, haven't had that break. The school didn't get in touch with them. The father-in-law didn't have a business.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people out there not skilled, come out of football and think, what am I doing today? Where's my purpose in life? It's gone.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not at that point, but there's certain points along the road where you think, you know what, you can understand why people turn to drink or start gambling, or just do something to take the mind off it, because
Mickey, they did that when we played.
At times for me, it was all I could think about, you know, for that like sort of 6 weeks, and it's a tough road. Like you say, luckily for me and other people aren't as lucky, someone reaches out to you and says, "Look, here's an opportunity. Do you want to take it?" And I did. And you have to thank yourself lucky. I mean, you might not be earning what you were earning before, and you might have to go out doing other jobs either if you can, but it's better than having nothing.
It is, Mickey, and I bet one of the first things you did was sit down with your lads, look at your direct debits and go, right, what can we get rid of?
Yeah. And
we've got 2 cars. Do we need 2 cars? Get rid of it. We've got to get rid of a car.
I remember I had the exact conversation with Nick, and I was crossing stuff out. Don't need that. And I was crying my eyes out. I was sitting crying. So I was like, is that going to affect the kids? How is that going to affect the kids? Me being sacked. And I was still blaming myself for being sacked. I was still saying, but it's me not being good enough. Now that's going to affect my kids' life. And how do we have to move house? Do we have to, like you said, in the car? Do we have to not go on a holiday? And all that sort of stuff gets on top of you. And then you start having like really down days. And that point for me was really difficult. And that sort of, like you say, do we need that car? Do we have to have a house like we have? Can we move somewhere else? And I found it really difficult. I really did.
There were hard times, but like I say, how many times have we said we were fortunate?
Yeah.
You know, ours might have been a week or 2 or a few months. There's some lads out there, Mickey, that we've played with. It's years.
Yeah.
And sometimes it has a sorry ending. So it's a big, big issue. Coming out of football is a huge, huge issue.
Well, I think, to be honest, Hendo, I think we're probably going to do a podcast at some point about football and mental health and speak about it and speaking about a lot more detail. So we might get you back on at some point and with another guest as well, and have a real good in-depth chat about it, because obviously we want to talk about your career. I don't want to spend the whole time talking about mental health, even though I could go on all night about it. And
yeah, we could, Mickey. We could. Aye, absolutely.
Right. Well,
you went into an industry there though, Hendo. It's bad for your proper health, because haven't you had an accident recently with your fingers? What happened there? Oh.
I went on the table saw at work in a bit of a hurry, and someone shouted on us, and instead of switching the blade off, I went to get a bit of scrap out the saw blade, and as they shouted, I turned and the fingers went. So I've lost an inch off my middle and ring finger. It was January this year.
Oh God!
I remember you ringing me and telling me about it. That. Sounds horrendous. I'm glad you recovered now. Back on the golf course as well. Which is
it affecting the swing end or not?
No, it seems all right, Mickey. At the grip, I couldn't have been any more fortunate, and that's the only part of your grip that you didn't need the tips of them two fingers.
Yeah,
so, I mean, we've got the comp coming up on Saturday, so hopefully I get me handicap, get back on the ball. So hopefully.
I was going to say as long as you make the cut, but that's probably not the right term.
It's not the first. I've had them all, fingerless gloves, everything. The lot.
Just
right,
going back
go on, Sim, go on.
No, I was just going to take him into to your career. Then you talk about the Burnley days, and then obviously you moved on to Hartlepool. And I guess when you went to Hartlepool, from what I wasn't at the club at the time, but it sounds to me like it was a bit of a statement transfer from Hartlepool to sign a player from a higher division and bring you to the club. How did it all come about?
It wasn't a statement, mate. I got released by Burnley. I was on my way home. Sharon rang and said, "Kevin, I've seen the house I want." I says, "Hold on, Pet, I've just lost my job. I haven't got a club, nothing." I put the phone down to Sharon. I was driving up from Burnley. I had a car full of gear. Phone rings. Didn't know the number. Chris Turner. So next day I went and met Chris. In between that, I had Dave Hodgson on the phone from Darlow. Dave says, "I'm going on holiday. When I come back, don't sign for anyone. When I come back, I want to sign you." I says, "Okay."
I'm not going to just stop you there. Henry, 2 seconds. Honestly, I had exactly the same phone call with Hodgie when I left Middlesbrough. And he was going on, he would be back in 2 weeks. He never rang us back.
But I didn't give him the chance, mate. Chris Turner rang. I went and met Chris the next day, and I drove to Washington Services where I met him, and I sorted a deal out there and then. And I went down the next day and signed. So within 48 hours,
brilliant,
it's done. I was buzzing. I was back home. It was great days.
Yeah, because just going back to Hodgie. Hodgie rang me. Now, I'd been on loan. I'd gone back to Middlesbrough. So Mick Tate was like, "Look, I want to sign you this, that, and the other." And Hodgie was like, "I can give you more money. I can give you more money." So I'll never forget, he said to me exactly the same. "I'm going on holiday, Mickey. I'll be back in 2 weeks." But then Tate here next week turned up at my mum and dad's house. And I was sitting with mum and dad, and he was like, "I've got the contract, Mickey. Do you want to sign it?" And I was like, I pulled my dad into the other room, like they do on Dragon's Den. I was like, well, he was, my dad's always like cautious, He was like, "Well, there's a contract there. There's not going to be a great deal of difference in the money. Sign it." So I was like, "Look, Mick, I enjoy my time in Hartlepool. I'll sign it." And then Hodgie came back on holiday, and he rang us up, and he absolutely was going mad at us. "You promised you were great." Never spoke to us for about 7 years after that. Not a word. And it was only after the Beatles once in one of the playoff final he actually spoke to us. But he held it against us for so many years. I'm obviously glad I didn't want to sign for Darling anyway.
So that's how the signing of Hartlepool came around. 48 hours from leaving Burnley, I was signed and ready to go.
Fantastic, that. I mean, obviously Chris was putting together a squad at that time, wasn't he, to try and really challenge and have a go under IOR and everything. Could you sense it immediately as you turned up at the club that it was going?
I'll be honest with you, Simo. I didn't know a great deal about what was going on. I just wanted some security and I wanted to play football.
Yeah.
And when I went down and I spoke with Chris and he was telling us his plans, and I'd been with Stan and then talking to Chris, I like chalk and cheese. And Chris was so encouraging, and he got a great team spirit going. Because when I first signed her, Denny Ingram was there. I used to travel with Denny, and Mickey will back us up here. Denny was one of the Jack the lads.
Yeah.
Great player, but he liked to live the life. But eventually Chris got it changed, and it was quite quick. I remember, I think we were bottom of the league, Mickey, or in the bottom 2 or 3, and we had a team night out, and we went to the Black Bull.
Yeah.
It was approaching Christmas.
Yeah.
And we never lost a game after that. We went from in the bottom 3 to getting into the playoffs.
I think we had Chris on last week, and I think Chris, he introduced sort of a lot of new things, but he had to do it in a way that he had to sort of start getting rid of the lads who had been there quite a while, but were into the sort of the old routine, if you like. So the ones that wanted to go on a Friday night and have a few pints before, do you know what I mean? They wanted to sit on the bus on the way home and have a few cans, you know. So he gradually stopped some of them and sort of filtered out the lads who wanted to do that. And unfortunately, then he went on. I think he went to Scarborough and was one or two.
He did,
But he started to bring that professionalism in, and that's what we spoke with him last week.
That's exactly it, Mick. The whole place over 2 seasons turned professional, and it was all down to Chris and Westy. And he brought in the right players that bought into what we were doing.
Yeah.
And it became so professional.
And that squad at the time, obviously, was building a really powerful squad. You were up against some real competition up front as well, weren't there? It was a fight department.
Gary Jones, Chris Freestone, and I couldn't get a game. Like, I was scoring in the resis, and I just couldn't get a game. And I thought, what have I got to do here? And then I think my debut was Darlow at home.
Right.
And I'm not sure if we won 2-0. And I'm not sure if it was Lee Fitzpatrick scored and Schultz.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that game.
That was my first start. I think that was my first start.
Right. That was it, wasn't it? It was a battle again in the team, but that was what was building at the time. You know, he wanted to have that competition for places, I guess.
Oh, absolutely, and it always seemed to be he wanted to bring in a bloody centre forward.
Yeah, he was like what's he called, Warnock, the Sheffield United manager, used to just sign centre forwards for fun, didn't he?
Aye. Oh, we're conceding goals. We need another centre forward. Hold on, Gaffer. I remember going to Norway on pre-season tour, and the Gaffer took up the top of this mountain. I'm not kidding you, Simo. And he says, right, lads, run down. I'm going, hold on, we've got a game tonight. So we went up the top of this mountain in the cable car. We had to run down. And then we had a game. And we got beat off the Dog and Duck or something. Anyway, long story short, we get to the airport and they're centre forwards on the bus with me.
Remember that?
Tim Sperovic, remember?
I remember that, aye. We were like, who's this? He's come for a trial. Like, we played against us where we were absolutely knackered. We could always. And he was like, yeah, but he impressed everyone, didn't he? I remember that 10 years.
Aye, Tim turned up the airport. We went, whoa, hold on. That was a kick in the teeth.
Yeah. I remember Chris spoke to me. I'm not sure if it was that season or. And we couldn't score any goals. We couldn't score any goals at all. And he said, Mickey, what's the trouble? I said, well, us at the back, if we concede, then we don't feel like we're going to get back in the game. And I think we had Jonesy and Chris Freestone up front. And he was like, well, I just don't know what the answer. And I said to him, well, try something different. Try one of the other lads up front. You know what I mean? He seemed like he had an idea of what he wanted at the start. And even though it wasn't working, he was reluctant to change it, if you know what I mean. He wanted to keep those things in and give him a real good chance, which I can understand. But we just couldn't score any goals really before that sort of Christmas period.
So my debut's down to you, Mickey.
Yeah.
Cheers, pal.
When you were in the team, because you played a lot of games at the end, but who was, out of all the strikers you played with, because there was quite a few that came in, as you said, through the time you were at the club, who was the one you really liked playing up front with?
Tony Loma.
Right. For what
reason? Tony became a bit of a battering ram, and he was a help for me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't me doing the battering, so I ran off him, and it made a nice change. Obviously, Flash was a different finisher, laziest man in football, but what a great finisher. You know, I heard Mickey's tale last week where he worked for 26 minutes and we did the run in 13, and that was Flash. But what a finisher.
Do you know what, on a similar thing, Hendo, I spoke to Stevie out about this, and when he was at Leicester, I think Holloway was the manager, And obviously, you were similar. You used to get battered off the centre halves every week. They'd be coming through the back. Stevie was exactly the same. And he says, Mick, I really enjoyed playing for Leicester in the system because they had Matty Fright as the one right up top, and Stevie used to play behind him. So, because Holloway's thinking was, well, Stevie's never going to be able to run up past anyone. So they used to get Stevie in the little hole, if you like, and play Matty Fright. And he said, Mickey, it's so enjoyable not being clattered from behind every second of the game. I've got a bit of space, I've got a bit of time. And I think you were similar with Ant. Someone else was taking all the batterings for you.
Aye, absolutely. I remember, Mick, we used to have a sweepstake. You know, people would bet on who was the first goal scorer. And that was the fans, where the lads used to bet on what minute Hendo was gone off with concussion. It just got ridiculous, didn't it?
Yeah. Honestly, it got to the point, Hendo, where it used to happen that often that it wasn't even a concern. It was like, yeah, Hendo's down.
I carry on, lads. He'll be back in a minute.
Like the first couple of times, you're like, is Hendo all right? I've not seen this before. But it came so, even in training, it used to happen similar. We happening, Hendo in training, we going down, someone kicked them in the head. Credit to you, Hendo, because I think a lot of the times you were putting your head somewhere where others definitely wouldn't.
I've never been the sharpest tool in the box, Mickey. I think I love the physical, get in there and have a go.
Did you? Did you love that in the dressing room before the game? Were you thinking, I'm going to, get into these today? Is that what you wanted?
I just wanted to get in their faces. I loved upsetting centre halves. Loved it. And I used to wind them up. Tommy Widgerton taught us a few little things, as did Tony. Grow your fingernails, so when someone gets down, you pick them up and get them to the armpit and get the nails in and stuff like that.
It's not like Tommy to have a few dirty tricks up his sleeve.
Aye, Tommy, aye. He knew a few little tricks.
Was that the kind of thing, though, that impact, the effort you had, the desire you showed, that probably gave you that great rapport you had with the supporters at the time?
Probably, because it was effort, Simo. Never being the most talented. I could strike the ball. I could take a chance. I could miss a chance. But I always grafted, and I would like to think I gave everything. Every minute I played for that club, I gave everything I had. So I've got no regrets. Maybe there's a few tackles I shouldn't have gone in for, and a few head injuries I got if I'd got my arms up, but I just wanted to compete. Yeah. I loved the competing.
But I think, Hendo, as well, that probably, when you say you missed a few chances, which all people are going to miss, I can't remember ever the fans getting on your back. Do you know what I mean? I can't remember ever a time, it might have been the odd shout or this, that and the other, but because you work so hard for the team, and I was saying this to Mark before we came on, it's very similar for me to Joe Porter. Someone that was just willing to run, put defenders under pressure. And for me at the back, that's like, do you know what? If he's going to do that, we're going to do it from the back. And it just gives you such a boost. And Joe was exactly the same. You'd see him sliding across or running to chase someone down. The crowd get up to give him a clap. And all of a sudden, the whole team's lifted because you put a bit of effort in.
It is, it's effort. And it goes a long, long way, Mickey. If someone's prepared to put themselves about, put the effort in. You watch the Premier League week in, week out, and they've all got talent, but there's not all of them's prepared to put a shift in, and it would make a big difference to them if they did.
Yeah. Going back to what you said, Hendo, about that physical sort of confrontation in the games, I remember when I retired, and that was one thing I used to miss, because, when you get a kick and you wake up and you saw the next morning, or you're getting an elbow and you've got a black eye, and my missus used to say, how can you miss getting hurt? And I actually missed going to see the physio, and the physio putting his hands on my knee and looking at it and sort of go, Mickey, you'll be all right, and getting you back out playing again, you know what I mean? And she thinks I'm absolutely balmy. She's like, I can't understand. And I said to her, I actually miss sort of, if I cut my head open, I remember cutting my head open Brentford and coming home. It was a bit like a war wound, like 16 stitches in my head. And you go to work the next day. If I went to work with 16 stitches now, I probably wouldn't be allowed in.
Aye. No, you didn't. You do miss it. I'm not saying I wanted to get injured, but I loved the physical battle. Centre half at York, was it Satori?
Yeah.
Big. He loved the scrap. Got him sent off. Well, I see he got his cell sent off. He wiped us out. Aye.
What did he do? He clad you?
I was winding him up. I was teasing him in, should I say. And he didn't have much finesse about himself. So he was like a bull, and he came through the back of us. And I think I just took a little bit too long to get up, and off he went. I think that was the York game on Boxing Day? On New Year's Eve or something, 2000. We won 2-1.
Well, he's actually a masseur now, isn't he? He works for Man City in England.
I thought that was him, I knew I wouldn't forget his face.
You never forget his conch.
He's got a hooter and a half, hasn't he?
Now he's a masseuse.
Yeah.
You could walk the channel him and still breathe all the way. Aye.
You mentioned there the Boxing Day against York. I think that's one of the pinnacles of your Hartlepool time, isn't it? The brace you scored against York on Boxing Day. Do you want to talk us through?
Mark, I'll be honest with you. I was thinking, how can I get that game in? I've got to think of a way, and you lined us up perfect there. Centre half, bit of a scrap. York.
Here we go. Later on to get that goal in. Don't worry about that. But
all right, we'll not talk about it now. It was a good win. It was 2-1.
No, go on, talk us through it. Give us some detail.
The only thing I remember, the ball going up in the air, and Steve shouting, lay it off. And I heard him shout, what the great goal, Hendo. Because obviously I timed it perfect. And I still tell the tale now that Bobby Mims is still looking for it. And Beaver says, I still can't believe you didn't lay it off for us.
I watched it again on YouTube today. I still can't believe it. It's incredible.
The best thing about it was it actually should stable up for a little bit.
That took some doing, didn't it?
It's a question.
Underwater, Beaver.
It's a question I asked of footballers a lot when they score the goals like that, the sort of instinctive ones. But obviously it's 20 years ago now, but how quickly do you get the picture in your mind when the ball's in the air there? You've got to very quickly process, right, what am I going to do? How did you come up with that? Why did you attempt it from so far?
Do you want me to answer that, or Hendo? Go on, Hendo. I'll let you. You scored more goals than me.
I don't remember seeing the picture. It was instinct. It was reaction.
Yeah.
And it's not something you can practice. It just happened.
Yeah.
And it was fluke. I hit it sweet as a nut, mind. And I tried every week for 6 weeks, and it ended up in a heap on the deck. So that tells you it's just a one-off thing. It doesn't happen very often when you hit it like that.
Yeah, I think it's one of those centre forwards, like you hear people say, you have to be in the right position at the right time to score a tap in. It's just an instinct that a centre forward would have. If you put a midfielder in there or a defender, they wouldn't have that instinct to even try it. And I think it's just probably a bit of spatial awareness of where you're at, where the ball's coming from. And like you say, you can't, to score a goal like that, you can't practice it. It's not something that you're going to be able to recreate on a training pitch. It's just a natural instinct of scoring a wonder goal.
There's a lot of people out there think just pure luck. I'm going to tell you it was skill. It was pure technical ability.
The only problem is, in this day and age, Hendo, you'd be in the dressing room afterwards sticking that straight on your Instagram, wouldn't you?
I know. The times I've thought, social media was just 10 years too late for me.
Well, we talked the other week about Michael Mackay, and he's not the lovely lad, but like you said, not the sharpest tool in the box, Hendo, and he actually scored a goal. I'll never forget it. It was at Hartlepool at the big, and it got disallowed. It was referee said, the linesman said I hadn't gone over, so he'd come in on the Monday morning, and he filmed it on Sky, but then he paused it on Sky and took a picture of it on his phone. So he's come in, he was like, lads, it was in. So he's got the phone in, he's going around showing everyone, trying to prove it was in. Yet when he's paused it, the ball wasn't even over the line.
Was it not?
His picture wasn't even anywhere near the line. I was like, it just sums back up that.
That does about sum Michael up, yes. But when I was asking people about you earlier on, Hendo, that there's a couple of things that they said we should ask you about. Is one, that a game at Darlington where Andy Collett was just incredible and kept everything you hit out of the net.
He should have been sent off, like.
Should he?
And the first 20 minutes, he came rushing out the box and took us out. And right. Collie knows. You see Collie, get him on, ask him. He should have been sent off. But he could have played for England that day. He was outstanding.
that game is the only, and he'll love me for saying this, but that game is the only time I've ever seen anyone get a 10 in the Northern Echo.
Right.
And actually deserve it. He was unbelievable that day.
He was like.
I've known Collie since I was 16-year-old. I played Middlesbrough with him, and he was a good goalkeeper. But that day, he was just on another level. No matter what you'd done, he was stopping everything. You know, it was.
He was outstanding. Aye.
Is that something you've spoken to him about since? You know, I'd have a bit of a laugh about.
I saw him down the Vic a few years ago, and he was there. And I said, "You still living off that game, lad?" Because honestly, that game for him was like my overhead kick. It was outstanding. It was. He was like a force field or something. He had telepathy. I don't know what it was, but
I'm still waiting for my moment, like Hendo. I have to be honest. I think I did a good tackle once about 2010.
Oh, come on, Mick.
I'd retired then.
I'll tell you what I did hear about you earlier on, which I hadn't heard before, but we talked about earlier the rapport you had with supporters. And one in particular, I know that you had a good affection with was a lady called Doreen Ritchie.
Doreen Ritchie.
Who I'm led to believe that, you know, after every game, if you'd won, you went and, you know, said hello to her after the game. And,
I did.
And I believe even about 13 years ago, you surprised her at her 80th birthday and went down to say hello. That's the kind of, you know, the close-knit thing we had at Hartlepool at the time. And
it was. You know, she used to sit right in the front, next to the tunnel. And you knew she was there every week. I used to look for her, I'd give her a wave. And I don't know how it came about, but just struck up a rapport with her. And I still now and again get messages off her family. We would get Christmas cards off her. I'd send her a Christmas card. And I think, God bless her, she's in a home now. And she's got dementia. Mm-hmm. But I still get updates. So, yeah, I still look out and hope she's all right.
That was a nice touch, turning up at her birthday as well.
I asked her, it was her 80th, and when I left pool, before I left, I gave her one of my shirts, and I turned up for her birthday. She didn't have a clue. She had my shirt on. I was buzzing.
Well, you've got to get dressed up for your birthday, haven't you?
Why, aye.
I normally wear my Hendo shirt when it's my birthday.
I don't think there was any left. I thought I'd kept them all.
So, Hendo, just going from, obviously, the time with Chris Turner, and then, obviously, Chris left and Newley came in. What was the difference like in the changing room? What was Newley like? Different to Chris in any way?
Newley was a bit more off the cuff. He had a little bit more aggression about him. I got on really well with Newley. He gave us a start on Boxing Day away at Hull when Hull's new stadium opened.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Remember that game? 24,000 sellout. What a noise. But some of the lads, if you didn't graft for Newley, he would dig you out. And I think that cost her a little bit, that he didn't keep the squad together. I think he did dig one or two out, and that upset the rhythm a little bit.
Yeah.
But personally, I got on great with him, and I thought he was fantastic. But I could see how the squad suffered when he didn't keep everyone gelled together like Chris did. That was the problem we had, and that's what cost us top spot.
He was always with Newley, like he was quite happy to start an argument. Like he must have thought, well, woke up some days and go, I'll just have an argument with someone today. And he didn't really care. He was like, it could be something random, you know what I mean? But on the other side of that, we used to do things to get the lads. Like, I remember we had a golf day. It might even be Joe Allen that organised a golf day up at near Berkeley.
Was it Ravensworth?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And then Newley went, right, everyone has to go to Newcastle for a few drinks. But the next day we had a reserve game. So I think one of the lads was like, Mickey, I don't want to go because I'm playing the reserves. I was like, well, just come to Newcastle, have a couple of cokes and then shoot off. So we had a couple of beers anyway, and you could see all the lads in the reserves itching to have a few pints rather than stay on the soft drinks. So Newley come up and he went, right, that's it, lads. Everyone that's out is out. No one's playing in reserves. So the lads were like, get in, no reserve game tomorrow. I remember being in Barhouse down the quayside, and the lads were like, well, I'll buy then. And you could see Newley going around one-to-one talking to people, and then all of a sudden the heads was just dropping. So I've gone over to one of the lads and said, what's he saying here? He went, it was just about 1:30 in the morning, He was like, he's told us we're playing in the reserves again now.
Mate, I was...
It was like random things that you would just couldn't work out why he was doing it, or like...
There was a couple of things with Mike. The first one, you remember the nitty-gritty?
Yeah.
He took all into the dressing room at the Vic, walked in behind her, shut the door, locked it and put the key in his pocket. He says, right, lads, we're going to have a nitty-gritty. And we didn't have a clue what he was talking about, did we? So he says, I'll tell you what it is. And he went round the squad. I tell you, Simo, he went round every single player in that squad. You're all right. You need to lose weight. You're soft as shite. You're always injured. He went round the squad. He come to me, he went, Hendo, I love you. I could have cried, honestly. I could have shrilled and went under the bench. And then...
I'll never forget, he went to Jim Probert, didn't he? And you don't train hard enough, don't do this, you need to lose weight. And Jim was like, what are you talking about? I played 0 minutes. I've never played a minute. It's not my fault.
Jim was the only one that stood up and had to go back. So I getting back to training when Newley, he'd got rid of the fitness coach, couldn't do it himself. So he just set off running round Huffle. We did the longest warm-up, Simo, I'm telling you. We just kept running, because Newley could run, by the way.
Yeah, he was fit as a fiddle. Absolutely.
Just did this fartlek for about 45 minutes. We were knackered, we couldn't train. And all we did was keep running, he would change direction. It was like trying to catch chickens, just kept on running after them.
What about when he used to go, like, we used to always train at the ground on a Thursday. Like, every Thursday we'd be at the ground, we're doing, like, team shape, little five-a-side. And then he'd go in goal. And he'd be like, lads, just get a ball each and just take shots at us. But he'd put the gloves on and he'd be diving full length across, like, and he would be gutted if you let one in. And the lads were, like, trying their best to get it past him. And he'd be diving full length, tipping them around the corner, getting up for the next one, like he was a proper goalkeeper. He absolutely loved those Thursdays being in goal.
He did, he loved it. He
loved
it. He was off the cuff, but I loved him to bits. He was great.
I remember sat at the end of Clarence Road once in my car at the traffic lights right at the end of Clarence Road, and the traffic lights are on red, and my car starts moving forward, and I'm like, what's going on here? And then I look in the rear view mirror, and Mike's behind us pushing us with his car. What are you doing? He's pushing us out into the junction.
I just felt sorry for Sheeds, because every time we went out, I remember we were in Lilleshall where we were staying over for like 3 or 4 days, and we went out, and every time there was someone's round, he was like, lads, we'll get them in, don't worry, we'll get them. So we were like, oh, champion. And he just turned to Sheeds and goes, Sheeds, go and get the drinks in.
Remember when he got a flat tyre on the M62? After it was a night game, he's driving home to Liverpool, and he told us this tale. They got a flat tyre. He wasn't in the RAC. So as Sheeds was his assistant, he made Sheeds change the tyres. He sat in the car. It was lashing down on the M62.
Oh, it was brilliant. I don't think he got on so well with the chairman at the time, unfortunately.
No, I think that the off-the-cuff style, the chairman didn't like that. He liked regimental, he liked routine, and he liked to, I'm not saying he liked to be in control, but he liked to have a say in what was going on. Newley wanted to be his own man, and it was never going to work.
I remember Newley, it was after the end of the season, we were in Newcastle Airport, we were actually flying on holiday. Newley rang us up. He was like, Mickey, you're mates with Stevie Howard, aren't you? I was like, yeah. He says, I'm pulling out all the stops. I'm going to try and get him back. I don't even know where Stevie was at the time. And I was like, all right, he might be in Northampton or he might be in Luton. And I was like, right, okay. I said, yeah, it's fine. I'm sure if you can sort a deal out, you're more than happy to come back. So we landed, and you put your phone on. It was Newley again. He was like, the deal for Stevie's off. I've been sacked. So in the time I'd flown, by the time I'd flown to Portugal or wherever else they're going, he must have got a phone call and said it was done like that so quick. But Newley was brilliant. He used to walk, like, the lads loved him because I think he was so eccentric. He used to do his team talks with like a bacon sandwich in his hand. So he'd come in and he'd walk around the dressing room, he'd come past you and be like, Mickey, just make sure you're like tight with him today. But munching on a bacon sandwich, and he'd walk up. And he was just so, I don't know whether he'd been brought up with managers that were off the cuff and a little bit wacky like that, and he wanted to be like that, or it was just his personality. I loved it. I loved the short time we had with him. I loved the training. I loved his enthusiasm. I loved the, like
he made it a really fun place to be.
Oh, he did, 100%.
I spoke to him 2 days before he got sacked. He says, Hendo, you've got a year left. He says, I want to tie you down for longer. I thought, champion, spot on. Then he got sacked. 3 months later, I was out the door.
That was the most bizarre. It must have been the most bizarre promotion. At the end of all that hard work, we ended up going to Scunthorpe that day, didn't we? And losing 4-0, but also winning promotion. What was that like for you two playing in that game?
Well, I remember at the end of the whistle, I just went straight down the tunnel. So I've got in the tunnel. I started shouting, chucking a few things around. Newley's in there. He's absolutely caned a couple of the lads. So there's about 5 or 6 in there, and it's proper getting heated. There's people really upset. But there's only 5 or 6 of us. The Humps wasn't in there. I was looking around. I was like, where's Humps at? Where's it? Where's he? Where's that? I couldn't see anyone. And I was like, something's not right here. You don't normally take that long after a defeat to get in. You wouldn't be clapping the fan. And then someone comes in, went, we're being promoted. And I was like, so just being promoted, half of them are outside celebrating with the fans, and the rest of us are in here having a massive ding-dong. And it was even like, you couldn't even really celebrate getting promoted after you get beat 4-0.
Strange one, wasn't it?
No, it was really sour, wasn't it? It was, we'd achieved the goal that we'd set for, because we made the playoffs 3 years on the spin. Then eventually we went up, but we went up in such devastating fashion. It was disappointing, and you couldn't celebrate, Mickey.
No, you couldn't.
Yeah.
It was just an awful, like, well, anytime you get beat 4-0, you've got that awful feeling that you haven't played well, you haven't earned your money, you haven't let the fans down. Yeah,
you're going home to kick the dog, fall out with the wife. Aye.
Yeah, it was just it sort of summed up that season in a way that it was a little bit unconventional, a little bit different to what should really happen.
Aye.
And you mentioned that obviously the next season, did you go on loan initially to Carlisle, didn't you, after that?
I did. I had an operation that summer, and when I came back, Coop said I wasn't fit. So I think it was his way of getting me off the wage bill and getting someone else in that he liked. But that's a different story. And I got a phone call off Scotty, do you want to go to Carlisle on loan? I says, well, whether I want to or not, you obviously want me out the door. So I says, yeah, I'll go. And I knew they were in real trouble. But I had family from Carlisle and it kept us at home. And I thought, if I'm not really wanted by the current management, then I'm not going to stay there. So I went, cut my losses and went for a month's loan initially. And after 2 weeks, Simo pulled us and he said, I want to sign you. And I thought, so I rang Maureen Smith. I says, Maureen, Simo's at Carlisle wants to sign us. I said, I've only been here 2 weeks. I've got 2 weeks left. And I says, I've still got 8 months on my contract. She says, well, you need to speak to the gaffer. So I rang Scotty. I couldn't get the gaffer, and the Scotty answered. And called us a few names, put us on to the gaffer. He called us a few more, threatened us with training with the kids. And long story short, the next day I signed for Carlisle. So I left Hartlepool. I was forced out. I didn't want to leave. But when I knew I wasn't really wanted, I wasn't going to hang about. Yeah. And I went to Carlisle and we did go down. We got promotion. I had another good time there. So everything happens for a reason, Simo.
And I mean, you won't let that overshadow because, you know...
Sorry, I'm just making a cup of tea.
We're so late.
It makes milk one sweeter, Mickey.
No, I mean, it won't overshadow your time at Hartlepool the way that it ended because, you know, by and large, it was good times, wasn't it?
Well, like I say, 3 seasons in the playoffs and then promotion. And I was part of the start of the transformation of the club. Yeah. Like Mickey said before, from the regime and the routine that they had needed to change to be successful. And Chris Turner started it. And the likes of Mickey that was there and then stayed through it just is testament to what Mickey was as a lad, as a professional, that he took it all on board. I remember when they signed Richie Humphries and his scales. Remember his scales, Mickey? Everywhere Humps went, he took a set of scales. And that was like, shit, this is professional. We've changed now. And I was privileged to be part of that.
Yeah.
And that's when everyone says, what's the best time in your career? Those 4 and a bit years at Hartlepool were the best.
So, Hendo, you know, when you went to Carlisle, who was in that team then? Who was the players that people might know? Or...
Peter Murphy.
All right,
Richie Foran. Matty Glennon.
Right.
Then eventually we signed Kev Gray. That was Brendan McGill. Then we signed Arnie. Arnie came over.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Craig Russell was there. Mark Somerville. You'll know Summers.
Yeah, I know some as well, yeah.
So there was some good players there.
Yeah.
But it was strange. I went from such a professional dressing room to a one that wasn't so professional. And Simo did at Carlisle what Chris Turner did at Hartlepool. It was just 4 years later. And they had to go down to, I think, restructure, regroup. And they came back stronger, got promotion, got to Wembley, got promotion again. So, again, I was part of the turning round of a club.
Just like quick fire questions, Kev. So quick answer and then little reason why.
Right up.
All right. So number one, favourite ground that you played at?
Oh, it's got to be the Vic. I love the Vic, the full Vic. When it was bouncing and they're shouting your name, there's no better place to be. So I loved the Vic. I played at St James's Park, which is my team I've supported as a kid, but playing at a full Vic in the front of 6,000-7,000 sometimes that we had when we played Darlow, the atmosphere was unreal. Loved it.
Oh, brilliant. Right, number two, the toughest opponents. So who made your life hell? Who give you a tough time every time you played against them?
Can you remember Danny Shittu?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like John Coffey of football. The kid was a mountain. A mountain. He was quick. He was strong. He was tall. He's the only centre-half that I've ever thought, waste me time here, like.
You couldn't wind him.
He was awesome.
I remember the game at Blackpool in the playoffs, and I'm not sure whether Spike had gone up front for the second half, anyway, the ball was set back, and it was, you know, that diagonal that everyone plays out wide, yeah. And Spike was up there, and Spike was pretty strong, you know what I mean, big lad, strong. And Danny Shittu just like ran into him, and Spike just bounced about 6 foot.
It did. I remember him. He absolutely battered him.
And I was like, this is some like 19-year-old kid that's on loan from somewhere. He was
on loan from QPR, I think, Mickey.
Yeah. Well,
Danny Shittu is a centre half that give us a hard time.
Yeah, I remember talking to centre halves as well. We were in Magaluf once, and we're drinking this shot, and it was something like 80% proof. So if you had one, you weren't having another one. Simple as, if you managed to neck one of them, you'd done well. So the people would walk past. And Aston Villa were there, and Ugo Egiog came walking past, and we were sat with a couple of the Aston Villa lads, and he come past and he went, "What are you drinking there?" So one of the lads went, "Oh, you can have one if you want," thinking, "Oh, we'll stitch it up good time here. We'll get them done over here." So he got one, he drank it, and he didn't even flinch. He told me, and proof this, did not flinch. And he turned around and went, "Oh, it's a nice little tipple, that can have another." And we were all just like, "Whoa!" Because he was like massive.
He was a big lad, wasn't he?
Oh, but I've never ever seen anyone that asked for one more shot of that stuff. Incredible. Right, question number 3, and you might have answered this already, but we'll ask a question. Favourite goal?
Oh, Mickey. You know, I take some stick because every year I put that goal on. It's always on social media. You'll never score another goal like that, Mickey.
I know. That's a question, though. It's one of my questions. So
we were told you were going to be reluctant to talk about it, Kev, as well.
I know. It does take some coaxing to get it out of us, Simo.
Okay, next one. Funniest teammate. So who makes you laugh the most that you played with?
Remember Midge, Craig Midgley?
Yeah.
You never left your mobile lying because Midge got it. I remember Midge he used to get people's mobiles and send messages to random people.
No.
But someone got Midge back. We got his phone and we sent a message, and it was the head of the FA coaching. Can't remember his name at the time. And we told him how much he loved him and wanted to spend time with him. But Midge was hilarious. He loved to prank Midge.
Yeah. Can you remember Midge's dad used to follow the team around in his van?
Aye, he's just passed away recently, Midge's dad.
Has he?
Aye.
I remember forgetting him because he was so opposite of my dad. My dad came to about 3 games in his whole life. One was Cardiff. But Midge's dad would go everywhere with him. So he would go to Torquay, but he'd take his van. He had a mattress in the back of the van, and he would just stay over it in his own van in a mattress and have a couple of cans, drive to the game, and then drive home the next day. And he would go.
He went everywhere for him, didn't he?
I couldn't believe it. It was incredible how much sort of dedication he had to follow his son.
Aye.
To the extent that he bought his van, the mattress, just to travel around the country in.
Great kid. Darryl Clark as well, Mickey. There's a story about Darryl. When he was at Mansfield with Tony Loma, and they'd run a quiz, and your prize was a meal with Tony Loma and Darryl Clark. So the fans entered, won. So sitting out in this pub, restaurant, having a meal, the waiter comes. So Darryl, how would you like your steak done? He says, "Oh, grilled."
That sounds about right for Dad.
Aye, trigger all day.
Next one, ugliest teammate.
Ugliest?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's got to be Knowlesy. Knowlesy grew a tash to hide his face. That's how bad he was.
To hide his face.
Aye. He couldn't grow a beard. He just grew a tash. Trying to hide behind it.
Can you remember the story when I hope he doesn't mind us telling this, but I'll tell it anyway, when he cut his cock?
Oh, mate, I was thinking that. I was in hospital the same day.
Him all right. So the ball got out on the far side. He's trying to let the ball run out. And someone's gone round him with his foot to try and keep it in. And he's gone down and I've gone. He's got kicked in the nuts there. But he stayed down. So he shouted over to me, Micky, I need to come off. So I've shouted to Chris, he needs to come off, Gaffer. Chris has gone, what's wrong with him? So I've shouted at Knowlesy, what's wrong with Knowlesy? And then this kid broad Yorkshire accent went, I've cut my cock open. So I've had to shout to Chris, he's cut his cock open, Chris. So Chris is talking to Westy, and he shouted back, he's what? I said, he's put his cock right up and he's going to have to come off. And he had, the top bit, he just sliced the whole top and it all come apart. He had to go and get about 15 stitches in the top of it.
Mickey, I was in hospital. I did my ligaments that day and I was already there in that game. I was in the hospital. And my father-in-law, Billy, comes in to see us with my mum, Sharon. Oh, Knowlesy's on his way. I says, eh? Oh, is he all right? No, he's hurt his elbow. I said, his elbow? Aye. So Knowlesy comes in. I says, how's your elbow, Knowlesy? He says, not my elbow, it's my knob. I said, so because he was holding himself, Billy thought it was his elbow, but it wasn't. And the nurses all took pictures so that later on that night they come round and we're talking about it and they showed us pictures of it. Mickey, it was gruesome.
Oh, I remember the next week we were playing away somewhere and Knowlesy was stingy, he was tight Knowlesy, so he wanted to get his appearance money for playing. And I think the physio at the time had said, look, Knowlesy, you shouldn't be playing with that. So we got down to the ground. I can't remember where it was we were playing, but it was definitely a away game. And Knowlesy's got in with the physio. And so the physio is trying to strap it up. So Knowlesy comes walking past me, and his whole piece is like strapped together.
Did he not wear a box?
He wore a box as well. There's no way he can play a full game with that.
Aye.
Well, that's the story I had never heard before.
Have you never heard that one, Simo?
Never heard that before.
Oh, it was like a skin Frankfurt. It was all hanging. Oh.
Well, yeah, I've never, like the look on Chris's face when I shouted across what was wrong with him. He almost like went, nah, surely not. That's not. But he cut it right, almost nearly off.
Oh my God.
And I've just said he's the ugliest player I played with.
He's got the ugliest cock.
I wouldn't have, Mickey.
Right, next question. The fastest teammate.
Fastest.
You don't have to say me.
No, you were definitely not. What about Andy McAvoy? Remember Andy McAvoy?
Yeah, he was quick, right?
He was lightning. Mind he had to be to get his second touch, but
yeah, We signed Macca from, was it Middlesbrough we got him for?
No, Blackburn. Did he not come with Fitzy?
Yeah, he was stocky. Well, I remember Macca, he could have been a good player, but he was quick, really quick. Right, this might be a test for the next one. Biggest drinker?
Biggest drinker?
Yeah.
Strods. Remember Gary Strodder?
Yeah.
Denny Ingram. And then I went to Carlisle. There's a few there. No, I'm going to go with Denny because Denny could sup.
Yeah. Denny just wanted to have a drink wherever he went.
But how, he was a pure athlete.
Yeah.
How could he have been if he'd lived the lifestyle that he should have lived?
He used to go and he'd be like, I'm going shopping and end up having a pint somewhere, you know what I mean? He's just one of them lads that always ended up in a pub or having a drink.
Sounds like...
Aye, he loved the pint.
I remember Strods. I mean, I loved playing with Strods because he made my life so easy. He's just big. He's a proper man. A bit like Nigel Pearson, I thought. He's a proper man.
He was a proper centre-half, a man.
So when I was playing behind him as a sweep, I was just like, Strods, you just had everything. But I did get on the wrong side of it once because we were doing pre-season. And we were doing the 1,000 metres and I was in the slow group with Strods and a couple of other lads. And I went past him and he shouted, he just went, Mickey, slow down, in this like gravelly voice. And I was like, oh God, I've upset him. But he was the first one of the players that actually wore a watch. So he was timing to perfection.
He was,
loud. So he was getting in with 1 second to spare. And he was like, we don't need to go any faster, Mickey. As long as we're in on time, that'll do me. But he was a big, strong guy, Strods.
He's a good lad.
Right, last question. Oh, we've got two more actually. Worst dressed teammate?
Oh, it's got to be Stever.
Yes!
Stever. He loved the lilac number from George. He loved it. Aye.
He used to always say, it doesn't matter about what you're wearing, lads, it's about your boat race.
Aye. What did he used to say? He says, you can change your clothes, you can't change how ugly you are. Aye.
Right, last question. The teammate you wouldn't want to be in your family?
Oh. Jammer did something. Was it Jammer or Spike when we were in Holland? KNVB?
Yeah.
They used to prank each other, didn't they?
Jermaine Easter.
One of them left something in one's pillow and they could smell it in the room. But honestly, it went on for hours and it wasn't until he went to bed and put his head on the pillow that he found what he left. And I can't remember if it was Spike or Jammer, but whoever did that would never be in my family.
I'll never forget, Mark Robinson told me a story. I was probably there at the time about Jammer. Jammer used to, he was quite quiet, Jermaine, but he would just play the odd prank now and again. And Robbo had done something to Jammer. And Jammer was one of them who would just like, okay, fine, and not really make a big deal of it. But one day he was just sat in the change room. Robbo was brushing his teeth, brushing away, spits all the stuff out. And Jammer's just sat in the corner, just smiling at himself, giggling. So one of the lads went, Jammer, what's up with you? He went, well, he doesn't know where I put his toothbrush this morning to get him back. And he'd basically gone to the toilet. He got his toothbrush right round the rim of the toilet in Maiden Castle as well, where there's about.
I remember that.
And just put it back in his bag. And he was like, I told you I'd have the last laugh.
Aye, the silent assassin Jammer, wasn't he? He never forgot it and he would always get back.
Well, thanks, Hendo, for joining us tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Brilliant. Thanks.
Oh, absolute pleasure. It's always great to reminisce, mate.
And get yourself back on the golf course.
I'm going to try and squeeze a game in tomorrow night. And maybe Thursday. I don't know if I'll play Friday, but definitely Saturday and Sunday.
It does sound like you work hard, my Hendo.
You what? Sorry, Mickey?
It does sound like you work hard.
Mate, I tell you what, Mickey, I'm still working on the golf course, man. I never switched the phone off.
That's a thing. Corporate.
It's called networking, Mickey. Networking.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Brilliant.
We'll have a knock one day.
Yeah, I would like that. Yeah.
Well, thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Hendo. I appreciate it, mate.
Thank you for the time, boys. Good to chat.
Cheers, lovely.
Thank you. Cheers, Micky.
Micky, what another great guest, Hendo. He's great value, isn't he? What a good personality.
Yeah, he is. He likes reminiscing. That's the first thing he taught when I text him about coming on. He was like, "Oh, I'd love to do it, Micky. I love reminiscing." He loves talking about playing for Hartlepool. You can sense the pride that he's still got about playing for Hartlepool. And he had real connections with the supporters. The supporters loved him in general. The story about the old lady and going to the birthday sums him up.
Yeah.
He's a good guy who liked playing football, would give his heart and soul on the pitch. Probably why he got injured so much. But yeah, it was nice to see him. As I say, he's one of the good guys.
Well, another good guest down and Switch of Play, and we'll round it off there. But we'll be back next week with yet another good guest to join us as well. So, Micky, have a great week, and we'll see you then.
Cheers, Mark. Take care.